6:32, we'll start our scheduled event. So 2 more minutes. Give people time to get in and we'll start. Okay, by my clock is 6:32, so we'll have people joining as we continue to start our program. So thank you everyone for coming out to the Spring 2022 Graduate Student Kickoff event. We appreciate everyone for attending. But before we start, I'd like to give a special thanks to the Graduate Student Success Committee and Task Force for coming together to put together this event. And the idea behind the task force and the graduate student committee was to put together an event that could support our graduate students. Because in the past, we heard chatter and students wanted information about things about grad school, and at the beginning, they weren't sure how to go about achieving those things or building a sense of community. So this task force came together, and this is one of the initiatives that we started with is putting together a kickoff event. And the kickoff event is to help students to network with each other and at the same time build a sense of community. And we have more things coming down the pipeline, so please stay tuned. And just a reminder, at the end of today's event, well, tomorrow, Friday, we will be sending out a survey and asking for your feedback on the event to help us improve future events. So please, please take the time to complete it. So moving on, I'd like to introduce the MC for tonight's event. And the MC is Dr. David Nelson. Dr. Nelson gained his doctorate in communication from the University of Southern Mississippi. He teaches communication art in the communication arts department here at Valdosta State University. He teaches classes and conducts research in social media, data analytics, humor, popular culture, and rhetoric at the graduate and undergraduate level. So, so David, I'd like to turn it over to you to start our program.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Chris. And Chris has been one of the people headstoning it. So I guess snaps is what the things that everybody likes to do, or virtual applause. So I want to thank Chris for helping make this happen. I truly appreciate it. We've got a lot of people here today, and some people need to introduce. And let me first start off by introducing Dr. Robert Smith. He's the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. Thank you for making it, Dr. Smith. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David. So on behalf of President Carvajal, it is my pleasure to welcome all of you to graduate study at Valdosta State. We have wonderful programs at Valdosta State. Our programs are highly rated by outside agencies, accredited where accreditation is possible. And the reason our programs are so good is because of our outside. So I want to thank you for selecting to study at Valdosta State. I think you've made a really wise choice. You're going to meet a lot of really wonderful faculty as you progress through your graduate studies here. One of the points I want to make tonight is just that if you are new to graduate study, Graduate school is substantially different from undergraduate study. One of the main ways in which you'll find differences is that in graduate school, much more of the responsibility for learning is on you as the student. That's part of the process. That's how you learn. And I think you'll find it a really effective way to become a professional in your field. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Nelson. I want to thank you again for coming this evening and for choosing Valdosta State. Wish you the very best of luck as you pursue your graduate degrees. I look forward to shaking your hands when we're allowed to shake hands, of course, as you come across the stage at commencement in just a few years. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come to this thing. Next, I need to do a shout out to Dr. Becky Cruz, the Associate Provost for the Graduate Schools and Research.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome, and I'm so glad you're all able to take a few moments of your evening and spend it with us and learn a little bit more about how we can help you acclimate to graduate school at VSU. One of the resources we want to be sure that you are aware of is the graduate school itself. We have a number of resources and ways that we reach out to all graduate students to help you get across that stage. One of which, one of the supports that you have from us is in terms of graduate research. You'll all be engaged in graduate research, no matter what program you're in. One of the things that we do to assist you is with travel dollars. We have a fund in which if you are going to present your research at a conference, some of them aren't in person these days, but we certainly have funds to assist with the registration costs of these conferences. And so you can apply for up to $500 through the graduate school to help you get to those conferences to present your research. And the Student Government Association has a little bit of money that you can apply for as well. There's another $300 that can assist you down the road. Another support, not to forget, is through the Student Success Center. They have writing resources for students. It's called Thinking Storm. This is all virtual, and they have folks online who can help you with your writing and skills there. So it's something that you can connect with through our Academic Resource Center. Is very, very helpful. We've got graduate students who use that service all the time. In terms of courses that might help you with your graduate level writing, there's an English 8300 course in our English department, obviously, that is geared toward graduate students to assist you in writing at the graduate level. So if your program has electives available that you could take a course and you would want to hone your skills in your writing, that's a course that you may want to think about. The graduate school also has graduate assistantships, want to make you aware of. If you're looking for funding, if you're someone who comes to campus, I realize this is a virtual event and we've got a lot of students who are in fully online programs, but we do have graduate assistantships. We still have 10 positions open for spring semester. And it's a way to cover the majority of your tuition, and it provides a stipend, a monthly stipend for you. So it's an option if you are someone who is going to be more based on campus. Some other resources just to be aware of, shared in the chat is a link to videos that have been prepared to assist students in knowing some of these sources and resources that you have on campus that you may not know about just joining this semester. We've got around 8 or 9 videos, short little videos from our campus offices geared toward graduate students and the needs that you all have. Things like from e-learning, the library, auxiliary services, parking, IT, student wellness has videos there. I highly encourage you to check those out. And if you have questions about any of those services or run into issues, any of those offices, or we can get you in contact with the right folks that you may need there. But certainly our website, the Graduate School's website, has a lot of resources there for you. Feel free to explore that when you have a moment. The graduate catalog, don't forget about that as well, has a lot of the policy related things that might pertain to you at some point while you're at VSU. On the more social side, we have our Association of Graduate Students, and I'm not going to steal Emily's thunder. She's going to be speaking next. But I do highly recommend you all considering getting involved in our Association of Graduate Students. They do a lot of workshops and professional development and things like that. But with that, I'll leave it with Dr. Nelson to introduce Emily. Good to meet you all.
Thank you, Dr. DeCruz. Next up, I want to introduce Emily Brown. As Dr. DeCruz said, she is the president of the Association of Grad Students. So you hear AGS used quite a bit as that acronym, so you know what that means. So I'm going to pass it off to you, Emily.
Thank you. All right, so hi everyone, my name is Emily Brown, and then Becky DeCruz is currently going to be sharing her screen, which will have my pretty presentation uploaded.
Sorry, I'm working on it.
Oops, it's okay, guys. So I hope everyone is enjoying their first week of graduate school. Mine was really good, so.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it back off. Try this. Do you see it now?
Yes. Okay, so for the Association of Graduate Students, the purpose is to help facilitate social and professional development amongst graduate students at VSU. We also advocate for the needs of graduate students. So each month we're going to host a workshop, and then in that workshop you're able to present your concerns. We'll help provide support, and if needed, we'll help you find the right person to communicate your needs. So it's a great place for you to professionally develop yourself, connect with graduate students, and if you need to be advocated for, or if you need resources, we will be able to connect you with them. So for the next slide, we are going to talk about we're going to talk about the AGS officials. So my name is Emily Brown. I am the president of AGS. I'll be graduating in the spring semester, so this is my last semester, staying with the Vice President, Sarah, and the Vice President of Administration and Finance, which is Isabella, and the Public Relations Officer, which her name is Christy. So we're about to be graduating, which means we're open to have people who would like to actually apply to become one of our officers. So the benefits of actually joining AGS is that you're able to interact with other graduate students, you're able to access professional development, networking opportunities, volunteer opportunities, as well as hear from professionals in your field. We'll be able to help assist you with finding professionals in your field, because we enjoy helping you and helping you develop yourself professionally. So for the semester plans for the spring, we have multiple events, and the first one that is coming up will be a nice in-person event called the Self-Love and Compassion Festival. It is going to be on February 17th, and those are for the people that are local. The next event is February 21st, which is a virtual event, and it's going to be a diversity, equity, and inclusion, and it's going to help understand how to develop resilience through social support. The next one is March 21st, and that is going to be about serial killers and person organizational fit. So we're going to go in depth about serial killers and about their career choices, and we're going to connect that back to person organizational fit and how people's personalities tend to match the organization that they represent. On April 18th, we're going to be doing a professional development through LinkedIn, which is going to be a workshop dedicated to your professional development and how you can use LinkedIn and leverage, and to create leverage with that. And of course, we're going to hold the elections for new officers. So people who are interested in wanting to become president of the Association of Graduate Students, they are able to have that opportunity and apply in April. Our other semester events is in-person social event, which local students are able to come enjoy each other and just hang out, whether it's going bowling, having a movie night, or going to have a local tour at a museum. And also we're going to do a fundraiser. So you guys are able to participate in a raffle, and the winner will be able to get a prize. And do you guys have any questions or concerns? I have the chat open if you want to input a question in there, or you can vocally say it. It's up to you.
If students have a question later on, are you gonna be sticking around, Emily?
Yeah, of course.
So if we're gonna have question and answer during the panel stuff. So if you don't have one right now, Emily would be more than happy to chime in later on. And then also, if you could type up your email address in the chat, so if somebody wanted to send you an email, would that be acceptable also, Emily?
Perfect. That's okay. And then I'll respond to their questions in the chat if needed.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Awesome.
Did you have anything else?
Nothing. I'm all done. I'll see most of the graduate students at our workshop in February.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. One of our last guests that I want to introduce today is Emily Schilling, and she is joining us from the Counseling Center. Thank you for joining us, Rebecca.
Hey everybody, my name is Rebecca Schilling. I'm a counselor on the on-campus Counseling Center. If you're not aware, we are located in the Student Health building on the second floor. So once you go right up the stairs in Student Health, you'll see our door. What we do is provide mental health services to students for free, or rather the services are covered in your student dues. We provide short-term solution-focused counseling, 6 sessions per semester per student. And this can range from anything from individual counseling, we provide group counseling, couples counseling, consultations, crisis appointments, all of that. We also began last year a triage system. So if you call and want to begin services with us, you'll make an appointment to speak to a counselor over the phone for about 15-20 minutes, kind of get a better idea of what you need, and then match you up with a counselor or some other resources in the community, whatever matches your need best. So that's an attempt for us to kind of reach students quicker and get you guys into the resources that are going to work best for you. We also have kind of a contract with this company called Hope Connect. So our phone number, which I'll post in the chat, rolls over to an after-hours crisis service through Hope Connect. So you have mental health resources available to you 24/7 every day of the week. That Hope Connect also can help you find resources in the community. Say you wanted to see a private practice counselor somewhere in Valdosta, or wherever you live, wherever you're located. Say you're located out of state. Then you can call the Hope Connect line and get in touch, or get someone to get resources for you in your community. We are offering both in-person and some telehealth appointments based upon if you live in Georgia. So our licenses only cover people in Georgia. And that Hope Connect service also has a portion where we can refer you to psychiatric services. Say you need medications or you want an evaluation of some kind, we can refer you to that. And that service is also free. All the Hope Connect services are free. The only thing with the psychiatric services that you would have to pay for is the actual medication. We also do a lot of outreach on campus. So you'll see our department out and about on the front lawn doing De-Stress Fest towards the end of the semester. We do a Fresh Check Day. We do suicide prevention and awareness. And you can also reach out to the Counseling Center if you're in part of an organization and want some kind of outreach or presentation done by visiting our website. And then there's a form there that you can fill out. And I'll post the website in the chat box as well as our phone number. And if you have any questions, I'll also post my email, or feel free to reach out to us.
Well, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Rebecca Schilling? And maybe can you stick around for a little bit if somebody could hit you up in the chat, Rebecca, if that's all right?
Yes.
And also, could you post your email address if somebody had a follow-up or wanted to do it more on a private level? That would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time to do that. Does anybody have any questions? I mean, before I jump ahead. Thank you, Octavio, for putting up the Hope contact number up there. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next. We have a panel of 5 current students right there. Right there. Geez, they're sitting right there on the internet. Boomer me going there. So I was looking at the names over this. I've butchered so many names in the first week with some of these students coming in. What I've decided to do is if each one of y'all on the panel, there's 5 of them, and then there's an intermix of people from different disciplines and also online and offline, come on campus, offline programs there. So I would like to ask all the panelists to not step on each other, but carefully, one at a time, introduce yourself. Maybe give a little bit about yourself, what program you're in, and I'm throwing a curveball. I know I sent the questions out early. I just thought this one. What is one thing you cannot live without? If you're on that desert island, what is the one thing you got to take to kind of open things up here? Whoever would like to go first.
I'll rip the Band-Aid off. Good
Thank
evening,
you.
everybody.
Yours was the name I was afraid I was going to butcher, so that's why I'm doing this. So thank you.
Not a problem. My name is Kiana Howard Gordon. I'm currently a doc student in the ACED program. I have enjoyed it so much. Actually, previously I was a master's student here at VSU, so great I had to come back, and kind of finish that particular trajectory. Something that I can't live without on the deserted island. Oh my goodness. So many things to choose from. Okay, I would have to say my Spotify account. Couldn't live without it. Entertainment, forget the water, forget the food. I need my Spotify account so I can figure out what's going on in my playlist. So I'll stick with that one.
Thank you for being the first person to step, Kiana. We appreciate it.
Certainly.
All right. Next panelist.
I can go ahead and go next. Hi, I'm Cordell Motes. I'm a master's degree student right now, pursuing a history master's degree. But previously, I was a undergraduate at Valdosta State, where I got my bachelor's degree in history as well. I am mostly in person when it comes to how I do most of my classes. Let's see. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
What's the one thing you can't live without, Cordeal?
One thing I can't live without. I always need some sort of like entertainment or like background noise. So I'm gonna go with my record player, probably my record collection as well, as something to have playing to keep me entertained so I'm not alone with my thoughts.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, ma'am. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go next. I'm Selena Chavez Gomez. I'm a graduate student pursuing my master's in public administration. I have been in person my first semester, but my second semester, well, my first year I was in person, but my second year I'm now fully online. But something I can't live without is definitely my dog. He's my champ. That's literally his name. He's been with me through some highs and lows, and my baby can't really get home, and I love him to death. I can't live without him.
Thank you so much, Selena. And we got Phoenix and Callie, whichever would like to go next.
I'll go next. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera to work here. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Callie. I'm part of the MLIS program. I'm all online. I'm coming to you live from New Jersey. One thing I can't live without, my answer was kind of already said. I was going to say Spotify as well, but because I can't do that one, I'll say like a pen and like a notepad, so I can like write down my thoughts and such. And I'm happy to be here. So.
Well, thank you for joining us. And Phoenix, you want to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Phoenix Culbertson. I am a current doctoral student in the DPA program. I am actually ABD right now, so I am done with coursework, thankfully, and I am working on my dissertation. My program is fully online, so all my work has been online for my courses. And one thing I would not be able to live without, I always said if I ever got stranded, one thing I would want is a lighter, because I feel like most other tools I could build, but it might be hard to build a lighter or to build a flame unless you're skilled in that little rock and the little, the things you see on TV. So I would want a lighter so that I would have fire and be able to do whatever I have to do. Just a little plug, I also work in career opportunities at VSU. So if you need help finding a job, finding an internship, figuring out what you want to do with your degree, we are in career opportunities. We do virtual, we do in person, and we're in the student union behind Starbucks. So that's just a little plug because I am a career counselor in addition to being in the doctoral program.
And didn't you just win an award? I saw it today in the email today, Phoenix.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nelson. So I actually, I'm also the director for the Migrant Education Summer Leadership Academy, which is a camp that brings students from migrant families to the university to show them the collegiate experience. And so our camp actually won the Best Camp Award at VSU for the past year. So thank you, Dr. Nelson, for that recognition. And we're really pleased that minors on campus, which is an integral part of our campus because they're within legal affairs, that they acknowledged me in the camp efforts. So I appreciate that.
No, you got to brag on yourself when you win those things. Those are cool awards. It's cool to see that. Thank you for everybody introducing you and making sure I get your name correctly on this. We've got some questions you were giving it on this. Each can answer it. We'll just make sure we don't step on. I don't know if we want to raise our hands on that one as we go through. And audience, there is a question, there is going to be questions. We're going to want to get questions from you. So if you either want to post it up, either on the side, or you want to @ me, I believe is what the kids say. More than happy to do that. I know we have people monitoring in the chat as well. Or you can raise your hand and we can call you from that, whatever you want when we get to the audience Q&A. But the first question I want to ask the panel here, this prestigious panel, is what is some of the best advice you have received as a graduate student?
I didn't raise my hand, so I apologize. But I would say talk to your faculty. They're way more understanding than you think, but they cannot understand anything if they don't know what's going on. So just communicate with them and allow them to help you. Most of them want to help you, but they can't help somebody if they don't know what they need help with. So I would encourage you to reach out to your faculty. Something's going on. Just communicate with them. It's going to be very important because if they don't know, then what can they do?
All right. Kiana, you had your hand up.
I definitely agree with Phoenix. Definitely be open with your faculty. They're here to support you. I'd like to also, one thing that I learned throughout is make sure that you have your APA manual with you at all times, because you're going to have to update and edit and whatnot. So just make sure that you have that resource with you at all times. Be kind to yourself, because this is a new experience. You have to give yourself grace as you navigate through this. This is a new opportunity to get to know your classmates, because you're all going through the same experience at the same time. And it's nothing like having a person in your corner who can say, oh yeah, I can speak to that. Let's talk, let's engage. So be kind to yourself, know your APA, talk to your faculty. They are there to support you.
Cordell, I saw your hand up.
Sorry, I had to unmute myself for a second.
No worries.
So as far as like the best advice I have been personally given since I've been a master's degree student was actually during my first week of grad school. One of my professors during class said, and it is a little dark, but he said, at some point during grad school, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get overwhelmed by something. But there's always remember the good side of that, which is even though you're overwhelmed, you're still doing something you like, because you wouldn't be studying something like, for me, I wouldn't be going for a history master's degree if I didn't like history. So like, just remember, no matter how stressful grad school gets, to always remember to enjoy what you're doing. So that's what I would say was probably the best advice I've gotten so far.
Excellent. Thank you, Cordell. Callie.
I would say the best advice that I've been given is don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, it can be difficult when you're either in person or online to kind of like navigate when you feel as though it's a good point to ask a question. But in my first semester, back in August of 2020, I received an email because I asked, I think, 5 questions back to back in an email, and I apologized at the end, and I was told by a professor to not apologize for asking questions, because that's what you're here for. You're here to learn and learn to ask questions. So I would say just don't be afraid to speak up, even if it's something that kind of scares you. It's just all going to benefit your learning in the long run.
Selena, do you want to close us out here?
Yes, I mean, I think everyone really spoke well, giving advice. Definitely be kind to yourself. I am a first generation graduate student, so I don't know a lot of, when I began, I didn't know a lot of the process. I didn't know a lot of the courses, how hard it was going to be, but I definitely have to be kind to myself and understand that I am learning. I'm still a student at the end of the day, and to never be afraid of asking questions. Being online now has definitely taken that face-to-face. I don't get to see my peers. I don't get to talk to them after class, but I do get to email them. I've kind of broke that silence of just suffering alone and reached out to them via email. That's a way of communicating, and just don't be afraid to ask questions. It's what we're here for. Professors are always willing to help us. In the MPA program, my professor, Dr. Watson, he told me, you're a future public administrator, so act like it, learn like it. You are going to serve the community, take your classes seriously, learn from them, and if you're questioning anything, ask. So Dr. Watson really changed my trajectory in my, third semester. So he really was inspiring, and everyone really said great advice.
I want to add 2 things on there, particularly if you're in an online program, even face-to-face. Ask around to your peers, do they have like a group me chat? Because there's like, I know students in our program have like the one where, whatever students talk about. And I don't want to know what students talk about in that, but also that gets you into the culture of what's going on. And if you have questions about stuff, so like, hey, is there some sort of listserv? Is there a group me? Is there some social media way to communicate? And I think that's probably pretty helpful in an online environment. And we'd also say too is if you're not feeling a little bit, I always say deer in the headlights is what I told our incoming students, then you're not in the right place because it takes you a while. And those students on the panel, please agree or disagree with on this one. It takes you a while to kind of figure out, I would say, your groove as far as like your study patterns and how you turn things in, because it's, you know, even going from whether you're in a PhD program or an MA program, shifting up from undergrad to MA and then also to EDD or PhD or whatever you're getting a degree in, it takes a little bit to adjusting to. And I think hopefully all your professors are well aware of that, because we've all at one point, it may have seemed like in the 1900s or a long time ago, we've all been in your position at some point. And I think, and I could say that all faculty want you to be successful. We want you to move on, and we're here to help you. And we understand that. And I agree, ask questions if you need help. I mean, we can't read minds as a faculty member. So that would be just, I wanted to throw that in there, but that was all great advice. I want to next ask you, what's something you wish you knew before you started your first year in your program? When you're stepping on either campus or getting into that virtual classroom, before you hit enter or walked on there, what's that one thing, that one piece of thing you're like, gosh, I would have liked to have known this? Or yeah, Callie.
I would say just kind of learn how to schedule yourself. Learn that it's not going to always be as overwhelming as it feels when you first enter an online situation in a degree, because you see the listing of classes and you can see that, oh, this is looks like a ton of things to do, and just learn how to schedule. Learn how it is good for you to like manage your days.
Can I go next? Is that okay? I think you're on mute, Dr. Nelson.
Of course I was on mute. Thank you. Cordell, is it all right? Selena goes first there?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, thank you, man. Go ahead, Selena.
Something I really wish I would have known was when I first started was that my mental health matters more than anything at the end of the day. There's a lot of stress that I went through just because I didn't know a lot of the processes, and I suffered a lot. My grades suffered a lot. But at the end of the day, I would always put myself last. And it wasn't until a couple of semesters ago that I really just had the opportunity to just take a look at the mirror and be like, I am a grad student. I know that I'm learning still and that this process is hard, but I matter as an individual. I'm not gonna break myself for a master's degree that I don't love, because I love this degree and I want to be a good public administrator. But at the end of the day, I need to take care of myself so I can serve my community and serve as a peer, to learn the material, because I wasn't taking care of myself my whole first year. It was really hard. It was rough. But now, again, when you take care of yourself and you pour into yourself, you're able to help yourself a lot more. And you're not just hurting yourself at the end of the day. So that's something I really wish I would have known. I wish I would have known a lot.
Thank you for sharing that personal moment. That I think that's really super important. So thank you for being bold and saying that, Selena. Thank you. Cordelia, what would you like to share?
After Selena's, mine is not quite as impressive anymore, because that was very nice of you to share with us. But something that I did not realize until I started, and this is something mostly for students attending on campus. If you go to Odom Library to do some research or something, you can check out books as a grad student, I think pretty much just semesterly. So like if you get a book in, like I checked out a book in August, I did not have to return it until like this month. And that was a really good resource to me. So going to the library, talking with the librarians, doing research at the library. That's something I didn't really appreciate during undergrad that I've kind of figured out is really beneficial during grad school.
All right. Phoenix, Kiana, anything you want to add? I saw Phoenix hand up first, and then we go to you, Kiana, if that's all right.
Okay, so one thing I want to say is before I started grad school, well, before I started my doctoral program, rather, I used to only use Galileo for research. And don't get me wrong, Galileo is a great source because it opens you to so many different journals and research things that is very helpful. But it's not the only thing you can use for research. One thing I learned about that has been very beneficial to supplement Galileo is Google Scholar. It is going to be one of your best friends, Google Scholar. It has so many articles on there. And in addition to having the articles on there, it has a way of simplifying the citation to where it's right there with the article. It shows you articles that are related to that article if you're talking about a similar topic. So instead of searching for many hours, research has to be strategic, or it can become very timely, just finding an article that's relevant to what you want to do. So in addition to Galileo, because that is a great source that is provided by our university, also use Google Scholar. And that's something that Dr. Alvarez from the Criminal Justice Program talked to me about and told me how beneficial it was. So Google Scholar, it's great. They say Google's your best friend. Google Scholar is your second best friend.
Kiana, what would you like to add?
I'd like to add 2 points that I wish I knew that at the beginning. My first point is around feedback. You need to be open to giving and receiving feedback in a constructive manner, because again, we're all here to learn together. Someone else within your program has a sage idea that they can actually share with you that might be impactful in terms of whatever assignment it is that you're going through. I have really enjoyed, being able to receive feedback, because it gives you new perspective on assignments that, you may think that you have down packed and everything, and someone gives you another point. It's like, oh, I hadn't considered that. Let me kind of, take that in. And so you're going to receive feedback from your peers. You're going to receive feedback from your professors. Be open to absorbing that information and kind of using that to set your thoughts as you move forward. The other thing that I really learned as I moved from our master's program, or my master's program, to my doctoral program, is that as a student, you are a part of setting the tone for your class. Your professor is there to guide you through the particular class, but you actually set the comfort level of that class with your classmates. So it's kind of a co-constructed environment, if you will, in order to help you to create that safe space where you can share ideas. So just us being in this room right now, we are setting the vibe, in terms of what is happening. So we definitely have a moderator, but right now we feel comfortable in opening up to one another. I'm sounding like an ACED student right now, sorry. So we're developing that dynamic, where we are comfortable with sharing personal ideas, and we're actually learning from one another. So you are a part of that dynamic and setting what is happening.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for adding that on there. I think this really kind of goes off what Selena was talking about when she opened up and shared with everybody. But how do you handle that work-life balance? Whoever would like to take that question first. Selena, do you want to lead us off again, or am I throwing you under the bus there?
Not at all. I can go ahead and start. For me, my first year, I was an in-person student. I was a graduate student, and my graduate role took up a lot of my time. So I also lived on campus. I worked on campus. I studied on campus. And for me, that was really challenging. For other students, that's fine. That's how they work. But for me personally, I had to figure that out for myself. So I definitely have my own place to study. I have my own place to work now, and I have my own place to live. And just setting those boundaries, those healthy boundaries, is something that I really learned looking ahead, looking at my syllabus. That's something that the syllabus. I know it may change a little bit, but you have to be on top of it. You have to work ahead of time. The work-life balance for me right now, I work with a local county and in the court, so I can implement what I'm learning into my job, and I really enjoy that. So therefore, my work-life balance right now is go to work, come back home, just leave my work at work, come back and pick up my schoolwork, and then after I'm done with my schoolwork, I go to bed. So it's really just setting your own healthy boundaries, and you have to figure that out for yourself. And it won't come easy. It took me a year to figure it out, but be patient with yourself.
Thank you. Cordell, you had your hand up.
Yes, I have kind of 2 points for that one. The first one is balancing schoolwork with like a job. I know a lot of people have different jobs that they are working at while also pursuing a degree. And I would recommend trying to find, if you need a job while you're studying, try to find a job that understands that you're a student. For my example, I work on campus as a graduate assistant, and my boss, my supervisor for that position, has told me, you are a student first. If I ever need you to do something, but you have homework to do, just let me know, and that'll be fine. I can like kind of understand that sort of thing. My second piece of advice for balancing schoolwork and then like life and other things is to never undervalue your social life, and because things like friendships and finding time to spend with your friends and your family, those are the sort of like networks that can keep you sane through all this. And so um, obviously don't let that take up too much of your time where it's taking away from your schoolwork, but always try to keep a healthy social life, to have that network of friends and family that can lend you support and that you can support at different times and whatnot. So that's a big one for me.
Thank you very much, Cordell. Kiana, I saw your hand up.
I'd like to piggyback on that comment. Thank you so much for opening with that. Um, Something that I learned early within my master's program that I was advised is that you're not going to school by yourself, but it's also those people that you were just talking about. They're actually along for the ride as well. And so you need to be intentional, letting them know how important this is to you, that they too are important, but there are going to be opportunities where you're going to have to prioritize. Sometimes you have, that late night reading that has to happen right now and you can't go to dinner. And so you may want to let them know, we're in this together, I want to do it, but you also have to find your voice. And sometimes you have to push back and say, no, I need to focus on this at this time. So scheduling, as Selena was talking about earlier, is definitely a part of it. So being, again, intentional about, okay, what do I need to do first? What's second? What's next? What can wait for later? So you want to get that buy-in from your support network, if you will, so that they too know how important this is. And at the end of the day, everybody wins.
Thank you. Callie, you had your hand up.
All right, so I'm going to piggyback off of you because having people try and find people that are in a similar situation to you, even though it can be hard. I have had the privilege of working in a library the entirety of my degree, and that also includes people who are also in library school, not necessarily in the same program, but they understand different study tips and they offer different perspectives on things. So finding and networking to those types of people has been really important in my case, and I feel like even if you're in person or online, just trying to find similar situationed people is um, a good thing to do for both like your mental health, learning how to balance work and life, even if you're not in a similar job to what your degree is for. it still offers you things that you can put on the table that others don't have.
Thank you. Phoenix.
Yes, so work-life balance is rough. At one point, and some people don't believe this when I tell them, when I started my DPA program, and I'm not exaggerating at all, I had 5 jobs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 full-time job at VSU and 4 part-time jobs. The reason I was able to work so many jobs is because 3 of those part-time, I made my own schedule. So I was literally working 80 hours a week from dusk to dawn while being in school in my first semester. So one, I would say my first piece of advice is don't get that many jobs. If you can avoid it, it was rough. It was just a temporary thing I had to do though. But the second thing I will say is use your Outlook calendar to your advantage. Anything that's in the syllabus, that's a due date, put it in your Outlook calendar, which you can attach to your phone, which you most likely always have. You can put reminders on there. There's a lot to do, and you won't always remember. If I tried to remember everything I had to do just from my brain, I would miss so many things, right? Because there's so many things going on. So spend an hour, 2 hours, put all your dates into your calendar. If it changes, you can always go back and change it, but put it in there, put reminders, link your Outlook to your phone, and then you always know when everything is due. You don't have to go look for your binder. You don't have to go look for your syllabus. Pull your handy dandy phone out, which you most likely already have in your hand or right near you, and everything is in there. If you do that every semester, you'll find that you really don't miss deadlines. Sometimes we miss assignments and points that were easy assignments, but we just missed it because we forgot about it. So I would tell you to put your stuff in your Outlook calendar. It'll really help you.
Thank you for that. So we're going to do one more question, and then we're going to open it up to see if the audience has any questions here. And this I pose to you is, how do you go about and seeking a mentor in a graduate program, and why would you want to seek to have a mentor in a graduate program? Phoenix, you got hands up, I see, but I don't know if that you just didn't put it down. You want to start us off this time?
Yeah, I don't mind starting off.
Cool.
So my mentor, who I will always shout out as my mentor, is Dr. Bobby Tickner. She is a criminal justice professor at VSU. I met Dr. Tickner in 2014 when she first came to VSU. I was an undergrad in the criminal justice program, and I just fell in love with the way she taught. I fell in love with how passionate she was about teaching, how intelligent she was. And so she kind of just took me under her wing, and she was my mentor. She carried me as my mentor all the way up until now. So when I started my doctoral program, I already knew who my dissertation chair would be based simply off the fact that who has been my academic mentor since I was an undergraduate. So Dr. Bobby Tickner is actually the chair to my dissertation committee, who I'm already have an established relationship with from being my mentor. Now that doesn't mean every mentor you have is going to be on your dissertation committee or will be your dissertation chair, but they have so much insight that they can provide you and that they want to provide you, because in addition to being your student, you are their mentee, and so they care about you, they care about your success. So that's why it's so important to have a mentor, so that when you need them, they are there and that they can carry you beyond just wherever you are now. And most mentors like to stay in touch and keep seeing how you progress through your career. So without my mentor, I probably wouldn't even know what I was doing my dissertation on right now. So definitely make sure you have a mentor. And how do you find one? I'm sure one of the other 3 can answer that question.
Cordell, I see you up next.
Yeah. So I have a couple different professors on campus that I would consider a mentor. I don't know if all of them would consider me to be like one of their mentees. But there's just certain people that I look up to on campus. Maybe they're doing what I want to do one day, like Dr. Haggard. He's a big mentor to me because he has, for 30 years now, been doing what I hope to do one day for 30 years, which is study history and teach and publish. But then there's also mentors that are just professors who I have a good connection with, the ones that encourage me to pursue what I want to do And like Dr. Laverne, who's my supervisor for my graduate assistantship, she just supports what I'm hoping to do one day and is wanting to help me get through those steps. So as far as to the finding a mentor, like how do you seek out somebody like that, is you just find somebody that you have a good rapport with, or somebody that you could see yourself learning a lot from, and just try to talk to them. Just open up that line of communication, which I would recommend doing with all of your professors. Always open up a line of communication with your professors, even if you don't think they'll be like a long-term mentor to you. And just talk to them. Just kind of keep those lines of communication open.
Thank you, Cordell. Callie.
I would say in terms of mentors, I have two mentors. I have one for my program, which is my advisor, Dr. Choi. She's wonderful. I've been in one of her classes at least every semester that I've been in the program, and I graduate in the spring. She's definitely been the person to kind of reel me in when I'm kind of over questioning and over analyzing assignments and descriptions of things, or even just kind of like a peaceful person to have like in your corner. That's what a mentor is. A mentor is supposed to be that sort of like, okay, it's time to ground you, and this is how how this assignment works, and this is how this type of thing works. And then I have a mentor that's been with me since throughout my associate's degree and undergrad. Professor Marchi, he's a professor here at here in New Jersey. He in the history programs. He's wonderful. He's kind of become my friend over the years, and I first met him back in 2016. And he kind of taught me how to be passionate about the things that I love learning and that I've learned to love learning. Whereas throughout high school and such, I wasn't really overly passionate about anything, but now I treat education as a much more passionate person. So being able to do that is a great thing that I've learned from having those mentors around me. So that is what I could recommend.
Thank you. Selena.
The way I go about mentorship, for me, it's something that I have to have. I'm a first generation graduate student, so I went about it two ways. My first year, I actually sought out a mentor formally through MESA. I'm not sure I continue that, and Phoenix can tell you a little more about it. But MESA organized a survey, and they were asking, what do you want in a mentor? What are your hobbies? What do you need help with? And they paired me with Dr. Jha. He turned out to be my professor the next semester. So it was really awesome that I was able to build that relationship before I went into my first ever in-person class for this graduate degree that I was very scared of at first because I didn't know. But with that formal mentorship and mentee, I really learned a lot, and I'm really thankful for that opportunity. Now, there's informal ways that you can go about it, of course, where you have that professor and you can just ask them, like, hey, do you have time for me? Do you have time for me to walk into your office? Can you stay a little after? And asking those questions, because like someone said, you may see someone as a mentor, but they may not see you as a mentee. So you have to you really have to set that communication and relationship. Just set it from the start. Say, hey, do you have time for all these questions that I'm about to ask you? Because they could get a little overwhelmed. And that happened with one of my supervisors. But she was really honest and told me, like, hey, I don't have time, but this is someone that I know you can connect with. She set me up, she gave me the communication, and now I have another mentor because of that. So just definitely, of course, ask them formally, informally. There's a lot of different ways. but it's vital to have a mentor. And Phoenix, are y'all doing that mentor mentee again or anything like that? I'm not sure.
Yes, thank you for that plug.
Yeah.
We absolutely are. She's talking about the MESA mentorship program. MESA is a faculty and staff-led committee that supports the Hispanic students at Valdosta State University. However, our mentorship program is open to all individuals, even if you're not Hispanic. Selena just happened to be one of those that went through the first year of the mentorship program. We assign you based off what you need help with, your hobby, so it's beyond just academics, but you have some type of rapport. So to learn more about that, you could just send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat. But yeah, we do have mentorship program by the faculty and staff committee, which is open to all students, even though our primary target is the Hispanic students at the university.
Kiana, do you want to close us out on this question?
Sure. I like how Selena phrased it, but sometimes you can have an informal mentor. I find that a lot of the professors that I've worked with, kind of created some of those informal, type of mentor opportunities. And so sometimes you really develop relationships with certain professors that kind of carry you forward as you go through your programs. Too, I'd like to shout out right now, Dr. Ray Martinez has been phenomenal. He was my advisor, during my master's program, and I've had opportunities to talk with him about everything that goes on with ACED. He even came to one of the conferences that was with my workplace called the GACTE over the summer, and he actually was one of the people that was my moderator. So being able to kind of set up those linkages, was very helpful, and I'm still grateful to him because for the ACED program, I will always be a proponent that we embody what it is that is being taught within the particular program. So I'm always a champion of the ACED program. And I will have to shout out the second person who invited me this evening, Dr. Gwen Ruttencutter. We actually were students together initially, and she's gone on to become the head of the department. And so she is wonderful. I'm able to talk to her about anything. She is very receptive to all types of questions. And I saw someone typed in the chat something about imposter syndrome. She helps you to avoid that, to let you know that you are good enough. And I saw someone state that earlier, that you are here for a reason and to embody those ideas. So again, wonderful professors. You guys are in the company of great professors. Take advantage of all of the services that are being talked about today.
Thank you for sharing that. And I would like to add, I think when you hear a mentor, it just means you just get to have one person. Like you can have many mentors for different reasons, like this person, so it doesn't feel like you can only have one. It's always kind of, we think of this in the singular and not in the plural. And two, think about particularly at the grad level, the relationship you have with these faculty members on the road. These are relationships that you will have, hopefully, post when you graduate, and sometimes the discussions you have with these people, it's not about school sometimes. Sometimes it's about life, and you get to really know these faculty a lot differently than you do at the undergraduate level. I mean, I know it's been a while since I've been out of school, but I still stay in contact with these people because they had a big impact on my life. And sometimes, like, I need a book blurb from them because I got a chapter coming out, or I just need, like, hey, where do you go find this information? And and they're just good people, and they've been really helpful, and you want to stay in contact with them. So again, these are relationships, and it's networking, and if you're on, I always say, if you're on the ledge, these are people you can go that have maybe gone through some similar experience that can kind of help you walk you off the ledge a little bit. And if they don't know, hopefully they'll be able to put you in the right direction to help you with whatever your situation is. So again, faculty, we're here to help you, and we want you to be successful. And because I think we've all been there, and we want to kind of carry on the tradition that was impregnated in our heads while we are going through what you are. So I will stop rambling. I'll open up the floor here. I've been asking a lot of questions. What questions do you have out there that are sitting watching this? If you just want to raise your hand, I'll call you, or you can type it up in chat. Okay. That's cool. But any questions? Did you have a question, Selena, or was that just your hand still up? Okay. And we have people with different experiences, both the online and the face-to-face. So if you have a specific question for somebody in one of those programs, please, this is a great opportunity and time. I just don't want it to be us asking questions, because again, it was stated earlier, if you don't ask questions, you don't know, and take chance, or these opportunities, take chances of these opportunities. Was there a question? That's a good job. There's a thank you. Does anybody on the panel have a question you would like to ask each other?
This isn't really a question, but Selena, this is a little plug. Consider the DPA program. Not sure what your full career goals are, but you can work a full-time job being a public administrator while also becoming Dr. Chavez Gomez. So just a little plug, just something to consider. And there's plenty of DPA people that were more than willing to tell you all about the program and try to recruit you, because it really has been a good experience. So just a little plug there if you're considering that.
I am considering my doctorate program already, just interviewing some schools and going to schools, just to find the feel of the DPA, because that's a commitment. It's a commitment. So thank you for that.
I see that's Cordell. What? Yes, Cordell.
Actually, I was going to throw out a question for the doctorate students. I think you both said that you got a master's degree before going to your doctorate schooling. What was the change from that? Because I'm familiar with going from undergrad to my master's, but one day I will be doing what you two have already done, of going from master's to PhD school. What was that like for y'all?
Okay, I'll rip off another Band-Aid. So this is actually my second year as a doctoral student. I'm actually pursuing my EDD in adult and career education. And I guess for me, I learned such great information while going through the master's level program, but I felt that, I would be doing a disservice to not continue within that same particular discipline. Again, the professors were very much in tune with the dynamics of the program itself, that I felt that, hey, let's go ahead and move on to the next phase. I am fortunate that I work at Georgia State University, and I'm able to take a lot of those dynamics that I learned in class and actually apply them to the work that I'm actually doing currently. And so for me, it was more so an intentional using the action-based information, taking that and applying, and I said, hey, let's just go ahead and, jump into that space. So it was a 10-year, decision. I should have done it sooner. But if you are passionate about the area that you're in, why not, throw your hat in the ring and continue with that? So I am halfway through my course study, and I hope to get like Phoenix and be right, before starting my DIS. But definitely go the next mile if it's within you.
And I'll add to that. Mine, in all transparency, one of the biggest drivers for me to go to pursue my doctoral degree was TAP. And TAP is the tuition assistance program that you receive when you work at a higher education institution, specifically within the University System of Georgia. So essentially, VSU is paying for my degree. Well, technically, the USG system is paying for my degree, right? So that was one of my biggest things, like, the degree is free. Why not? What's stopping me? The only thing stopping me is myself, my time management, my discipline, and my desire to actually do it. So look into those different things. That was one of my biggest driving forces. If it's free, I literally might as well. What's stopping me besides myself? The second thing is knowing when is the right time. Some things are put off for X amount of years or X amount of months, however amount of time, for specific reasons. And you want to start this type of thing in the right season. It has to be the right time, so that you can actually transition the way you want to transition. For me, I went straight from my bachelor's to master's. So after my master's degree, I took a year off. Some people are kind of scared to take a year off. They think, okay, if I take a year off, I'm not going to go back. Not completely true. It is for some individuals, they stop and then they don't come back. But if you're disciplined enough and you know you want to do it, so if you have to take a year off, it's okay. It is okay to take a break. And you've done so much. It's almost needed for you to like restart, refresh, refocus. So when you start again, it's almost like I missed being in school. Even though when I was in school, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so ready to be done. And the first few months of being out, I was like, okay, this is good. I don't have any homework. And then I started to be like, oh dang, I kind of miss being in school and knowing that I'm going after another credential. So just be willing to take some time off and not beat yourself up. If you have to take time, you have to take time. But you're not racing with anybody, it's a marathon. So do what you can do it at your pace. If you have the choice, if all you can do is one class a semester, do that and do it successfully, as opposed to trying to do 3 or 4 and doing them in mediocrity. Do what you can do and do it in excellence and go at your own pace and just be disciplined to keep going and just have grace with yourself. That's what I would say, how my experience was transitioning from master's to doctoral.
I think I'll just say, going through it, Cordell, just talking about, it's been a year, but it's important that you find a program that's going to fit you personality, like you feel comfortable with, that you're going to be able to help you become successful and reach your goals. So it's important you do research on that. Also, you're going to have to find a program that's not at VSU, so you're going to run into cultural shock issues. You came into a program where you were familiar with faculty. Now you've got to go in and basically you're starting from zero again. So you've got to learn every faculty member's quirks, how they communicate, what they're like, and all that stuff. So be aware of that. And I would say, depending on what the COVID situation is, if you're going to do offline or online, I would go visit the campus. This was advice that was given to me when I was looking at doc, because you get a sense of stuff through email and on the phone, but also go visit a campus and see if you can go watch, like sit in on a class sometime. I did that at several institutions when I was looking at it. And then you talk to students in the program to see if this is going to be a good fit for you. Because I think, and don't pick a program that's based on like, there's some really cool rock star scholars in here, because I've got friends that were in programs that went to schools and like, it wasn't what they thought it would be. And also faculty move jobs to jobs, it's they will go, I'm going to institution X, Y, and Z. All of a sudden they're moving to Guatemala U or something like that. And you're like, I just committed to myself and, to, depending on how long the program for, 4 or 5 years, and this person's not here. So really think about what you want to do and ask yourself, are you going to be willing to move out of the South too? Some people down in this region, like, I want to stay in XYZ geography. Is there a program that's going to offer what you want to do? So, like, are you going to go do Native American studies and end up going to KU, like, or something along that lines? And think about, like, if you're going to move someplace cold, you got to buy a jacket, and like, it's a different cold down here than it is in the Midwest or East Coast and things like that. Like, I'm sure New Jersey, Cali, New Jersey could tell you about cold and laugh when you see students are like, it's cold and it's like 40 degrees down here versus the snow, what's real snow looks like having, living up in the East Coast. So ask yourself if you're going to do that. And I agree with Phoenix, is if you need to take time off, take time off. School will always be here. Make sure you're making the right decisions and where you're going to feel comfortable. I think we could all probably speak to like that moment you knew you picked the right program. And that has to do with the faculty and then also the peers within the program. So, and then also pick your faculty's brains also, going back to the mentoring thing. Everybody in your program can do that. Or if somebody graduated from your program that moved off to a PhD, I try to like students in our program that want to get a PhD, reach out to those that have graduated that moved on. So again, think about all the resources you have available to you and start doing that, because I think it's a 2-year MA program that goes by like wicked fast. So like, if you're good, that's what you want to do. You have to kind of start thinking about where you want to go and right now too. And not that you have to make that decision, but kind of plan things out right there. I'm looking to see if anybody. I no worries. Let's see. I'm looking here. Callie, you're originally from Iowa. We're in Iowa.
I'm from around Davenport.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I'm from Kansas City. I'm very familiar. Been up the I-35 many a time.
yeah.
All right. That's Midwest talk right there. So it's like the 75 of the Midwest. Questions from the audience? All right. Let's kind of like, it's been a long day for, I mean, plenty of us here. Let's end up on one more question. Are we cool with that, panelist? On here, and then maybe if like someone wanted to reach out to you, would you be willing to share your email? I know Phoenix, you have done it. Selena, I just saw that you posted up. If somebody wants to, like, maybe they just don't feel comfortable right now, or it's like one of those moments you're driving home and you're like, dang, I should have asked this question, and do that one. But I, let's end up on this, and I lied, 2 questions. I like food too. You saw the last question there, and it doesn't have to be specific to Valdosta on that one. How have you grown since getting into these graduate programs? I don't know, whoever would like to go first.
I would say I have learned that the way I plan my schedule, the way I remember all my deadlines and stuff, it doesn't stay the same. So my approach to how I stay organized and how I plan my weeks and stuff, it's ever changing, you know. And the reason it's ever changing is because we're at different seasons in our life, we need different things to accommodate that time. But in the same way that we change, our approaches to things also sometimes change to match the circumstances and the environment that we find ourselves in at that time. So don't, if you've been using the same process you've used since high school, if you know it works and it's effective for you, then that doesn't mean change it. You know, there is the thing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But some things it is best to change up your approach. You know, what worked for your undergrad might not work in your doctoral program. So just be willing to change the way you go about doing things, your approaches to things, and knowing that it's okay that things change and it doesn't have to remain the same. And I've learned so much about myself and what I need to do, what I don't want to do, and overcommitting. So just be willing to, you know, grow through it and be amenable to that change, because change can be good. And I definitely feel like the person I am today is the strongest, most disciplined person I've ever been. But it only came with being open to that change and not being wanting to stay stuck and being so prideful that I felt like I was already great enough, really knowing that I could always be greater.
Thank you, Phoenix. Callie.
I would say I jumped into the graduate program after graduating during the pandemic from undergrad and having my last semester be online. And for me, I use that time in undergrad as practice for being in an online program because I was in person for all of undergrad. With that, I feel like I've kind of grown to be less afraid of mass amounts of change. I feel like it's good to learn that change doesn't have to always be scary. And I'm the type of person where my natural intuition is to be afraid of change because I don't like just the uncertainty, to be honest. But as I've gone through the program, I've made connections with people in my classes, even though most of them I've never seen their face or had a full, had a like a verbal conversation with. But we've been able to make those connections. So I would just say the person that I was when I first started the program is not the person I am today. And I feel like that transition is common with graduate students because we're learning to transform from our undergrad selves to our graduate student selves, where even though that is you, it's a different version of you, someone who's learned more and learned how to adapt and things like that. So I would just say, just don't be afraid of change and try and find your way into learning not to be afraid of those types of situations.
Thank you. Selena.
Thank you. For me, I am a first generation graduate student. I was first generation undergraduate student as well. So in my huge family of 40 plus, I am the first one to go to graduate school. So I'm definitely stronger than I was a year ago. I've learned to be more patient with myself. I haven't completely overcome imposter syndrome, but I'm learning that it's not going to overcome me. I'm not someone that's not strong enough to be here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. And I know I want to serve my community, so I'm just taking everything I'm learning and I'm just becoming a better person. I'm definitely stronger. I've been through really tough situations, and I'm sure that the coordinator in my program can say that, but it's just I really have grown stronger, and I cannot believe where I was a year ago, just even a semester ago. I can't believe how strong I am because this graduate program has taught me so much about myself more than anything. So anyone who's facing imposter syndrome, don't let it get you down. Don't give up. You are going to make it, and you're going to be amazed at the end of the semester, which is I'm still amazed, but I cannot believe how much I've grown. I feel better than ever, and like Callie said, I'm not the same person I was. So just be open to that. Be very mindful that you're not going to be the same person you walked in. You're not going to be the same. I think I was 20 years old when I started my master's program. So I was so little, and I've learned so much. And I'm really thankful for the opportunities. I'm thankful for my coordinator. I'm thankful for everyone who's really helped me be where I am right now. So.
Thank you so much. Kiana.
Two things that I've learned over the course of going through the master's program and the doctoral program. The first one is use your voice. You are important regardless of, the idea of imposter syndrome. You have something to add to the conversation and empower yourself to do that. The second thing that I have done, I try to remove different labels. So I will share, Selena, I'm also a first generation student, come from a military background. I have a quote unquote disability. Transcend those different narratives, and be who you are, as an individual, and know again that you have value. So you are bigger than whatever these labels that are ascribed to you. And again, be the best person that you can be. So that's something that I had to grow in, again, going through the master's program and looking at different narratives and how there are barriers that might be put in place, but you need to be able to hop over those hurdles and move forward within those particular areas. So don't get stuck on labels, use your voice. And I used to talk like this right here, but now you hear, I'm probably just the loudest mouth in the room. So again, use your voice, get your point across, and again, do your thing.
I wanted to end on a fun question because I'm a foodie at heart. So, what is your favorite restaurant? Yes, Selena, your hand went up wicked quick there.
My favorite Valdosta restaurant is definitely El Cazador. I've had really fond memories there. The deals on the drinks are really good. But it's just a really fun place. And I'm sure there's Zacadu's. I went one time with a graduate student that told me to go there with him. I didn't really enjoy the grits, but a good breakfast if you're into that. Yeah. So definitely El Cazador for me.
And it doesn't have to be in Valdosta. I know some of you are elsewhere. I understand that one. That's why I was like, pick what is your favorite restaurant? Callie.
I would say I just really like a good diner. That's a very New Jersey thing to say of me. It's kind of what we're known for is our diner food. And for anyone who's watched Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Guy Fieri is a fan of New Jersey diners. So I would just say, just like any place that has a huge menu, that's like a lot of options. That's typically where I'd go.
All right, Kiana.
Come on up to Atlanta. So, favorite place here, Fox Brothers Barbecue. It is the best.
Cordell.
So I mostly go to like fast food restaurants, and I didn't want to say that any of those were my favorite restaurant. And I was planning on saying El Cazador, but since Selena said that one already and gave it great reviews, I'd probably say a good not like a sit down restaurant would be like Texas Roadhouse. The at least the one in Valdosta is really good. I've been to the one in Lake City, Florida as well, because I go through Lake City on my way home to visit my parents. And so Texas Roadhouse would probably be my favorite place. Good date night place, and any other like celebration activity sort of place.
Thank you, Cordell. Phoenix.
So I'm gonna go against what Selena said, and I'm so flabbergasted that she chose El Cazador over La Jalisco. But La Jalisco is the best Mexican restaurant in Valdosta, and it is authentic Mexican food, not Tex-Mex. So if you want some authentic Mexican food, with the authentic Mexican flavor made with ingredients sent from Mexico, I would encourage you to go to La Jalisco. It is the only Mexican place I go to in Valdosta to eat, unless somebody invites me to El Caz for drinks. Then I'm going for the drinks and the people, but not for the food. So no shade towards El Cazador, but La Jalisco is just my favorite place in the world in Valdosta.
For sure, El Caz is good for the people and the drinks. It's just a good environment to be in to
Phoenix, have you been to El Taquerio over by the Air Force Base?
I forgot about that place. I've been there one time a long, long time ago. And in fact, it was so long ago, I didn't even go there to eat. I was a delivery driver and I picked up some food from there. But I did try it.
I think it's better than El Jalisco, but that's because I think the cooks moved up there. But that's just a personal thing. And Cordell, you need to go to Top Corral if you like fast food, and they've got a happy hour. So if you're a college student, you can go eat there wicked cheap or hip hop fish and chicken. Get out of the regular. Support mom and pop stuff if you're in your area on that. Those are two great things, Cordell. Go check those out. I don't think if you like hamburgers, Top Corral. It's the best burger in Valdosta. If you've not there, you're coming through, and it's locally owned. So I was like, again, support those mom and pop things. I want to thank everybody. I could talk about food already. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I want to thank everybody for taking time. I want to thank Quinella. I want to thank Callie. I want to thank Selena. I want to thank Cordell. And I want to thank Phoenix for taking their time out of their busy schedule instead of doing studying, which we know all grad students do when they're not in class. And again, I want to thank Dr. Smith for taking time out of his schedule, Dr. Cruz for helping making this happen and keeping us all corralled when we need to be corralled, Emily from AGS for taking time and letting y'all know. Again, if you're a grad student, take opportunities of these things that are presented to you. There's a lot of good programming that goes on that. You don't think about it at the time, but it does stick with you. I can speak from experience on that. And thank you, Rebecca Schilling from the Counseling Center. And again, take care of yourself first. If you're not taking care of yourself first, then it's not going to work out. You're going to be on the struggle bus on that one, and you're not the only person that's gone through that too. So don't feel like you're alone or feel like I think there's a stigma attached to it that you're alone and oh my gosh, all this. Take advantage of the counseling and the services, and then take a day off too, man. Like your people at the end of the day. School's important, but have fun. And I know it's a little bit more difficult nowadays with the COVID stuff that's going on and whatever, but do what you can. Couple things I'm gonna wrap up on, and then we're gonna be out. You can go off with your lives and everything like that. February 21st is the first AGS AGS meeting. So please attend. Look for emails going out there, and if you spread the word to your other peers and grad students to do that. Also, if you were here today, please take time and take a survey on today's graduate student kickoff event. It will be sent out tomorrow, i.e. Friday, by Dr. DeCruz. We can't make changes to these things. We can improve it. And without student feedback, as I always say, there's like what faculty think are cool, and what faculty think is cool is not always what students think is cool. I know there's generation differences. I hear it all the time. Music, style, fashion, all that stuff. But honestly, we do need feedback on this to improve it and what we need to do. And again, everybody, have a great semester. And if anybody has any questions, I'm pretty sure everybody on this panel more than happy to get back with you and discuss that. So thank you so much. I don't know if you have anything you need to say or wrap up, Dr. DeCruz.
I just learned so much about folks. This has been really great. I appreciate you all taking the time. You're also very impressive. Really appreciate it. And so glad we have all you new graduate students joining us at VSU. You're what makes our community, our campus community so wonderful. We're here for you. If you have questions, please reach out. We'll help you through whatever comes your way. Thank you, Dr. Nelson.
Thank you. Y'all have a good day and be safe this semester, please.